I'm not going to be negative and say we're going to have a bad season, and I'm not going to be negative and say Amrim's going to be sacked by Christmas or anything stupid like that. What I am going to say is I'm very worried about the midfield. You could also say, what's our front three going to be? Who's our two number 10s going to be? Who's our wing backs going to be? Who's our three centre backs going to be? I mean, you could almost look through the whole team and go, I'm uncertain on who the goalkeeper is, who the back three is, who the wing backs are, who the midfield two are, who the number 10s are, who the striker's going to be. I mean, you could literally look at the whole team 2 weeks out from Arsenal and go, I don't actually know much about that team apart from the fact that Bruno will play every game and Cunha will probably play a lot and Mbeumo will play a lot and Ahmad will play a lot. But where they'll play, I don't know. But look, fundamentally, let's not overwhelm ourselves with questions that will become answered in the next few weeks. The big thing nobody can reassure me about at the moment is that midfield is in any way ready for a Premier League season. I don't even know what it is. And I certainly think that, look, if we talk about Ugarte first, it was a bad game, but I like Ugarte. I thought he played well against Bournemouth. So it was a bad game. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think he's a player that we need to get rid of. It was a bad game. That can happen. Mainu, I don't know where he fits in. You know, he gets taken off and you see another opportunity disappear. And I know he's about to sign a new contract and I know he will sign that contract and I know the club want him to sign it. But I keep asking the question about Mainu, where's he going to play? Like, where is he actually going to get minutes in a Man United side that struggles? Casemiro, I mean, he's just a formerly great player who, as we know, is sort of running on empty. Collier won't get a look in. And as I said, I mean, Bruno was as bad as Ugarte for me today, apart from the fact he scored a penalty and he got a good assist. I mean, what he did to Ndia was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It's a good job Everton went and scored because that was disgusting. Like, he loses the ball and then he kicks a player that, you know, he's about 3 meters away from the ball. That was disgusting what he did. Bang out of order. If Roy Keane did that, people would be going mad. It was really petulant and it was really stupid and it would have been a red card in the Premier League. So Bruno had a bad game as well. But look, without individualising it, Ugarte was bad. Bruno was bad. Mainu, I don't think was that bad, but some people do. The big problem is I can't find one midfielder that I'm confident in at the moment, and I need to find two. And what I will say is Bruno as an 8 is going to be a problem. He's got no discipline at all, as he showed again today. And I'm not talking about the indiscipline of kicking somebody. I mean, he never gets sent off. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the positional discipline. That's not him. He's a number 10 being asked to become a midfielder at 30. So that is a big problem as well. But look, all in all, I hope what we've taken from this tour is that we're tired, that we're together, that we are fitter, happier and more productive. And I hope that that's what we're going to take out of it. And look, maybe we fly back from Atlanta today. We have a couple of days rest. We hit Fiorentina next Saturday. And then we have a whole week before we play Arsenal. And then that opening game in front of 75,000 people. We're energised, we're buzzing, and everything goes right. And we start the season well, because that can happen. But I've got to say, it was a bit of a reality check to be, at times, played off the park by Everton, who I don't think are going to have a very good season themselves. And let's not forget, we've played Everton, Bournemouth and West Ham. All three of these will be in the bottom half of the Prem. So we've not even come up against a team that's decent really yet. So I think it is a reality check. There's a lot more work to do. But the overarching thing for me is that it's not negative. I think the midfield, you'd be a fool not to be worried about our midfield. Everything else, maybe it takes care of itself. We've certainly got loads of number 10s. Mason Mount scored a good goal and I don't even know how we'll get in the team. We've got loads of good centre-backs. Hopefully we'll get a goalkeeper. Hopefully we're going to get a striker. But the midfield is a problem. And we all need to acknowledge that and we know that. But the biggest issue is the issue we had before the tour, and we have it at the end of the tour, yet again, here is another US tour or Asia tour or whatever you want to call it, where we haven't bought anyone. And it's starting to become a running theme now. When we go on tour, we stop doing business. And here we go again. We've gone on tour and we've done nothing. No sales, no purchases. It's just every year now, we should basically write off the last 2 weeks of July because nothing's happened. And at the start of the tour, many of us said we're not ready for the start of the season. We're not going to be ready for the start of the season because we're not, even if we sign players, they're not going to be ready for the Arsenal game. And 2 signings and no sales 2 weeks out from the start of the season is pretty scary, really. We're just not prepared for this season. So we're going to have to hope that we can beat Arsenal, beat Fulham, beat Burnley, get to the international break, have the players in, and by the time we come back from that international break, we are ready. Because we're not ready. We're gambling here. And we can do it. I believe we can beat Arsenal. I don't think we're favourites, but I think we can. I'd certainly say that we can beat Burnley at home, and Fulham away, you never know what you're going to get. It could be 9 points, it could be 6, it could be 4, it could be 3. But we are gambling a little bit because I think we haven't got the business done quick enough again. There's too many players that haven't been sold, and there's not enough players that have been brought through the door. And, you know, these are important positions. And look, the best example is that if Sesko signs for Man United, and I really hope he does, if he does sign for Man United and he ends up being Man United striker, imagine what it would have been like if we'd signed him 3 weeks ago and he'd been on this tour learning to play with the team. Imagine what that would have felt like. Who was your man of the match, Mark? Oh God! I mean, look, that's an example of the game, really, isn't it? Who was my man of the match? I thought De Ligt was steady. I thought Yoro was steady in the first half. I thought Dorgo was steady in the second half. I thought Mbeumo in the first half showed bits. Ahmad had a good first 20 minutes. Mount scored a good goal. It's difficult. It's really difficult. I'd say across the 90 minutes, I don't know. I mean, maybe give it to Mason Mount for the goal. I'm not giving it to bloody Bruno. Tyler says Bruno, Dalot and Agate worst on the pitch there. Look, the worrying thing about Dalot is, and I don't want to individualise it because it's, you know, we don't do the player ratings till the season starts, but the thing about Dalot is down the left-hand side he offered nothing, and then he goes to the right-hand side and offers nothing. And the problem with Dalot is that going forward he just doesn't offer enough, and you have to offer something in a wing-back system. You've got, like, who plays five at the back and has a defensive fullback? Like, I think we're more prepared than last season, says Brody. I hope so. I hope you're right. I can get on board with that. I hope you're right, yeah. 2 centre midfielders needs to be close to each other in this system, says JB. Do you think we have the most overdramatic fans in all of football, says James? I think I'd need a bit of clarity on that. It's 3 a.m. here. Stayed up to watch how Mbeumo and Cunha work, and I have to work early in the morning. It's safe to say our midfield easily gets run over, says Yazzo. Camson says we just need to sell some players. It baffles me that we still have not sold one single player and still cannot comprehend how some of those players can still play for Man United after last year. We need a DM and a goalkeeper, says Canson. Kettle is on. Tough game, says Mrs. Goldbridge. Have you seen the Avi? Bloody hell. Mbeumo looks quality, Mark, says Shakin. Had a bet for us to finish top 6, had to cash out, says Emin. Every team we play targets Agate, huge weakness, says Matthew. I'm marrying my beautiful fiancée on the 22nd of November, Yahoo, says Matthew. Congratulations, mate. Do you seriously think we will get Sesko? And if you could get a midfielder, who would it be within realism? Love the content, Mark's been watching for 3 years, says Ryan. If you want somebody realistic and cheap, then Douglas Luiz would be of interest. If you want somebody that I think we would like to go for that would suit the system. I actually think Yulmlin at Sporting Lisbon would be more suitable than Belieber, but I don't think we've got the money for those sort of players. Do you seriously think we'll get Sesko, Ryan? Yes, I do. At this moment in time, I do. I can't comprehend or understand how we'd go public and then not get him. Not selling Bruno for 100 million is madness, says James. We need a proper player up front. Patrick Bamford, Vardy or Carlton Morris, says Batty. If we buy Sesko, will Mbeumo, Cunha and Bruno start, says Rags Riches. Yeah, Bruno's going to play in the midfield, mate. Agate shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11, says Manor. And we need a goalkeeper, a striker and a midfielder. Anything less is failure. Our weaknesses are clear and we were lucky not to lose today. Time to act, says John United. League Cup second round is week commencing 24th of August, says Nick. So we will play 4 games before the international break then. Any inside info and Kone getting no minutes all tour? Don't think Casemiro should be playing. Look, Alpha, I've only just thought about that. I've seen a lot of people mentioning it on the watch-alongs, and I have got to say it is very, very disappointing that Kone didn't get any minutes on the tour. I would say that. This is a player that apparently we're going to keep and not loan out, and then we haven't used him 1 minute on the tour. So I think it is a bit disappointing. I don't know what the justification for that. I'm sure there is one, but yeah, now you come to mention it, was quite disappointing. Who was the best player this pre-season in your opinion, Mark? Across the 3 games, Dorgu. I think Dorgu's been the standout player. Other players have done well, but I think Dorgu. G7 Smith. Bruno is simultaneously our best and worst player, says Ruben. Welcome to the world of Bruno Fernandes. He's our best player, and at times he has bad games. I wouldn't say at times he's our worst player, and I think that's a stretch. But he's certainly our best player who can have bad games. Glad we drew the game, but we learned nothing from the starting lineup, says AKA. A goalkeeper is needed ASAP, and no more Ahmad as right wing back, says Desiree. Look, Ahmad as a 10 in the second half didn't really get in the game. Ahmad in the first 25 minutes as a right wing back looked amazing. The problem is that when you play in the right wing back position, if the ball doesn't go to that side, you're not in the game. And that's sort of what happened in the last 15 minutes of the first half. So he was in and out of the game, isn't he? I think we're more prepared than last season, says Brody. Thank you very much for that. Look, it's midnight in the UK. It's been a long evening. I don't profess to spend ages digesting a pre-season game. We've done 20 minutes. I think we've covered it. And look, I'm not going to overreact. I think there's a lot to take away from this. I certainly think not taking people like Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, the togetherness of the squad is far better. You can see that. The fitness of the team is definitely better. They're leaner. We know that. There has been some positives, but the 2 things that stand out to me are we're not prepared for the start of the season because we haven't done business quick enough, in or out. And secondly, the midfield, which has been a problem, and the reason teams over the last 2 Premier League seasons have beaten us so often, and the reason teams like Bournemouth and Crystal Palace have been able to beat us, is because the midfield is a weakness that those teams can exploit. That midfield is still a weakness. That is going to be a very, very big problem, and we haven't solved it. And the scary thing is, we've always said about the midfield, we need to sell to buy. And whilst I understand that, that doesn't change the fact that the midfield is weak. And if you're saying we need to sell to buy, fine. You've not sold anybody, so you're not going to improve it. But it's weak. We need a striker, we need a goalkeeper, and we need a midfielder. We need 3 positions. It's not about this 2 to go for. We definitely need a striker, we definitely need a goalkeeper, and it's very obvious we need a midfielder. But if I had to get one at the moment, I'm almost going, well, I don't think you can separate. I don't think we can do without any of them. If we don't get a goalkeeper, that's going to cost us. If we don't get a striker, that's going to cost us. And if we don't get a midfielder, that midfield at the moment looks really dodgy. So it's not about, I think we should go for a midfielder instead of a striker or a goalkeeper. I think we need all 3. I think we're going to be, I think we're leaving ourselves really open if we don't get one of those positions. Thank you very much. Hector says, Agate deserves some grace. The pitch was crap. Look, I think it was a bad day for Agate, but I still think he's a good player. You know, Hayden Hackney would be a steal, says Andy, and yet no Premier League club is looking at him. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Look, Bruno had a bad game today.
Season tour here of the States is brought to you by... Yes, people, Manchester United 2, Everton 2, as the summer series curtain has come down on the USA tour. It is complete. We're on our way back to England. I was going to say London then. United fans in London, all them things there. But we're on our way back after a 2-2 draw, and we've obviously lifted the summer series cup, which is, you know, listen, it's pre-season, that's a little trophy and that, but winning breeds winning. You got to get into good habits. I'll break down the tour second, but I want to talk about obviously what happened tonight. There was a lot of things that I liked today. I want to start with the positives because there were some negatives in some of the things we didn't do so well and some of the problems that we still may have, which are obviously still present. But I want to start with the positives. Let's start with Bryan Mbeumo. I was very, very pleased. Very, very pleased with his performance, his first 45 minutes for the club. We obviously come off at half-time just to get the first minutes in the tank and then go again on the weekend, next weekend against Fiorentina at home. But what I liked about it is that we got the glimpse of exactly why he was needed, that type of player. There's a long way to go, but immediately, first couple of touches, one was like a cushion pass, I think, back to Bruno when it got pinged to him from Leny Yoro. And then we're on the front foot, and then there was a sort of counter-attacking moment or an attacking moment or attacking phase from that. Getting on the turn and being able to carry the ball through the thirds. He's quite happy to do that. Working hard off the ball as well, linking up with Amad and Cunha, who I thought Cunha actually had a bit more of a quiet game today. He wasn't at his best. But I saw exactly what he's going to be able to bring. I think he's a top player, and top players, as soon as they walk into the system, even if they haven't quite bedded in yet, even if there's way more for them to do, their basic fundamentals will be present. And there was a lot of times where, you know, he's played a first-time ball during the build-up phase, just straight to Amad, knowing not to take an extra touch, knowing he doesn't need to do too much and overcomplicate the move. He's very clever with what he's doing and very clean and very crisp. Of course, so much more to come from him, and it's too early to start doing a madness. But as far as debuts go, I liked what I saw from him. I like that we're more willing to break the lines in those half spaces in the final third. That's what I saw. I saw that when we did sort of beat the Everton press or play around them and be playing forward, we gave Everton a lot of problems. You know what I mean? Because actually, I'll give credit to Everton. Everton were very aggressive and really, really physical with us. And in the opening exchanges of the match, I would say they were looking the more comfortable team. But when we did sort of switch it on and inject that pace and intensity into the passing, all of a sudden they couldn't live with us. You had Amad running down that right-hand side, coming in from right wing back, him linking up with Mbeumo, and then little touches from Cunha, and of course you add Bruno into that as well. So I really like those little combinations that led to just chances. Now listen, the penalty for Amad was that weren't a penalty. It weren't a penalty at all. But how we arrived in that moment for him to be given the opportunity to go at Tarkowski is what I'm talking about. Cunha as well. His execution wasn't as good as it needed to be. I think he was a little bit wasteful with some balls, but the intent and how he can take the ball, we just look more potent in that area already in terms of chance creation. And that was with Matheus Cunha up front. And that's another thing today. Matheus Cunha was up front. That's not really, you know, you're going to miss a lot from his game with having him up front. He could probably fill in there here and there. It says a lot that he wanted to have a look at it. It's pre-season. We have to look at all options, because if Rasmus is still here come the start of the season and we still don't have Benjamin Sesko, we need to know what we're looking at there, you know. Bruno Fernandes, I think this is more, listen, he was man of the match today and gets a goal and an assist. I think we saw the things that Bruno does well, which is no matter where he plays on the pitch, he finds a way to influence the game, right? So he scores the penalty, which wasn't a penalty, but he scores it, and he gets an assist for Mason Mount. But I also saw the things that worry me with Bruno playing in that position. I saw the things that I've been going on about before we even kicked the ball for pre-season. As soon as it was noted, of course, that we're going to bring in Mbeumo and Cunha and Bruno. Mbeumo and Cunha, and Bruno's going to go back one into the midfield positions. Alarm bell starting to ring for me in terms of what his partnership is going to look like. Bruno is a player who's always going to try things. I don't think we can expect him to not do that, you know. And he's a high volume chance creator. That's what he does. That's what he does on the tin, and he does that to the best of his ability. But now he's playing back one. That for me will expose the weaknesses. I mean, when he's closer to the goal, making things happen, it's Cash Money Bruno, right? As I like to call it, Cash Money Bruno. But now he's playing further back. He's not really got it in him to change his approach. His approach is always going to be, I want to find that killer pass. I want to put people through. Now, some of it today was not because he played the wrong pass. It was because the execution just wasn't there and he gave the ball away. Other times, it was through just choosing the wrong pass for the wrong situation. And he was obviously in there next to Ugarte. And listen, Ugarte, although I don't agree with like the hate that he gets of how extra it is, he's our player and we want him to do well this season. But at the same time, if you just look at it for the pure football side of it, I think him and Bruno is not going to work. I really don't. I really don't think that that's going to work. I think that there's going to be situations where... actually, no, Kobe, to be fair, Kobe was playing next to Ugarte today, but I still think even with the two of those in terms of Bruno and Ugarte, I don't see that being a partnership that we can rely on. Kobe and Ugarte is not going to be a partnership that we can rely on. I think Ugarte he's got the streak in him where he can get about, he can get in people's faces, he can win the ball back. But we saw today there was probably in a quick succession, probably in the second half, 3 or 4 or 5 times just consistently losing the ball, taking bad touches, putting the team back under pressure. Which, listen, at the same time, we were praising Ugarte with the game that he had against Bournemouth, I think it was. Or was it the first game against West Ham? I think it was, the first game against West Ham, he was really good. So there are going to be games where Ugarte plays well. Like, he's not a totally awful player who's never going to be able to do anything. But the number 6 position for me, I think, again, today shows us if people put it on us in that area, we don't retain the ball well enough. We spoke to Lenny Yoro afterwards, and even, if you look at the quotes from Ruben Amorim and Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes said, we didn't want to end the tour with a performance like that. There was some mistakes and lapses of concentration, and I think we got pulled apart a little bit in midfield. It's what I worry for as the season goes on if we don't get a 6, as the season begins if we don't get a 6. But I think overall, it's been a good tour. I think you can't get carried away with it. I think it showed us it showed me anyway, the weaknesses I knew was already there. It showed us that. But what it has done is given us a new look and an insight into what can be with the players that we bought. And I have seen more intensity. I've seen us playing with more purpose, more quality, largely. The first 2 games I think we were flawless. They were really good. Second game, I think we had more moments than domination, and I think Everton really put it on us. But overall, it's been a good tour here in the States. I want to big up Patrick Dorgu. I think he's probably been my player of the tour. I think he's really showing what you're getting on that left-hand side, because when you had Dalot in there in the first half, he wasn't attacking as fluidly as Patrick Dorgu would. And in the second half, it was the same thing when he went to the other side. So I think that clearly Patrick Dorgu is the man at that left wing back. That's his position. And when you have Amad at right wing back as well, you've just got those two sort of attack-minded. I mean, Dorgu's getting there with the attacking, but obviously Amad is an attacker converting into that wing back space. So him going forward and linking up with Mbeumo could be really mouthwatering. So you clearly got to get the striker in. I don't want to see Cunha playing too many games up there. But overall, I'm pleased. Listen, you can't get carried away. But if we were to come here and seen a continuation of last year and just seeing these men just swanning around the pitch, not really doing anything, if we would have saw this performance like 65% of what we saw tonight for the whole of the tour, I'll be very, very concerned. Because look, we've been here the last couple of years in America, scratching our heads when we're flying back to England, saying, oh my God, what are we going to do? And listen, we're not fixed, we're not back. There's still plenty of work to do, but the performances coupled with the noises we're hearing off the pitch from speaking to players directly, we've caught up with quite a lot of them, from speaking to club staff, from speaking to journalists, the feeling in the camp is there, the feeling that the togetherness is there. That I think is massive. So yeah, over to the boys. And we can't forget, actually, pre-season's not over. There's a very important game against Fiorentina. Yes, David De Gea is coming back. We caught up with Andre Onana in the back as well, off camera, and he was like, I hope you guys do something nice for David. That was a nice touch for him. Some of you might have some unsavoury things to say, like, bring David back. And I won't be against that. But it was nice for him to say that. But away from the sentiment of David De Gea returning back to Old Trafford, we got a game to play, and that is the last time that we're going to get it out in before we need to be ready for the next week against Arsenal. There's no messing about here. We have to be ready. So that is not a friendly of just going through the motions in front of a packed Old Trafford, which I'm sure it will be. It is not friendly. We have to take that serious. And I like the fact that Everton were very aggressive today and exposed us a little bit, because you do need those little reality checks to just show you where you was at. The second goal was poor that we conceded. And actually Mason Mount, I want to pick him up. I think Mason Mount was good, and he's had a decent tour where he's come on off the bench as well. Great take from him. He needs to do more of that and actually stay healthy. It's going under the radar that he stayed healthy for a long time. And speaking of healthy, Luke Shaw, let's have it right. He's had a good tour, man. He's had a good tour. For what we make of Luke Shaw, and we all know away from it, you know, about his future and this, that and the other, but he's trying to put that behind him. And guess what? He's going to be our starting left centre-back. And the left centre-back position actually does really suit him. He's a clever player. He's a physical player. And he understands the game well. Luke Shaw's biggest problem, obviously, is availability. But when he's available, he's a competent centre-back. Left centre-back now. We're not going to see him going up and down the wing as a left-back or a left wing-back in the system, which suits him down to the ground. So I actually don't have any problem with him playing there. It's just that inevitability of hope, you know, when's the next injury, which hopefully we manage him well and that doesn't happen. You've got young Aiden Heaven in there who just needs games and needs time. You can't just be thinking he's the man now and just get him in. It should be Luke Shaw. So listen, I know a lot of people want him to leave and stuff like that, and that's probably what should happen after so long, but he's here, Ruben believes in him, and most of all, he's fit. He's had a good tour and played well again tonight. Played well against Bournemouth, played well again tonight. I think all the three centre-halves, Lenny Yoro, he's just going from strength to strength. He's looking really comfortable and confident. They're putting him out in front of the media loads. That's the second time I spoke to him on tour, and he's, you know, same age as Cobby, isn't he? So you're starting to see that he's doing really well. So good tour, I'm really happy with it. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get us back to Old Trafford for the David De Gea send-off and the last game before we play Arsenal. Peace.
The Manchester United vs Everton review, and we have just drawn 2-2, but we have won the trophy. We are Summer Series champions. Clap. Why are you being a killjoy now, Andy? You was buzzing a second ago when we had the silverware.
Ultimate Starbucks refills
But
now.
Now we've drawn 2-2. We've titled it Tough Battle.
Unbeaten pre-season.
We're unbeaten in pre-season, so we'll start with the positives first. Do you know what I mean? Because we want to be a little bit more positive because we haven't lost in the pre-season.
Nope.
I think the performances in totality have been a little bit better than we've seen last season. So there is a bit of hope there. And you've seen things that you've seen a bit of combination to start the game as well with Cunha and Bruno and then Mbeumo, and obviously when they get up to speed, that will obviously get a lot better. I think there were some issues. I think left wing back with the low starting instead of Dorgu. I feel like that was a huge difference in terms of like ability, quality, and obviously balance as well. I think physicality wise, we struggled against Everton in the second half a bit. I think we definitely have some midfield issues. I think there's still a bit of a gap there when it comes to midfield. I've been advocating for United signing midfield for however long, but 2-2. Some positives. I kind of want to hear what you lads say about it. I want to hear what people in the chat say about it as well. Obviously, we won the trophy. I've joked about that. I know it's Arsenal game week 1 is what really matters, and the performances leading on from that. But I'd like to know what you lads think about. Instead of watching the TV, both of you, I'd like to know what you actually think about the game.
Oh, I mean, last game of pre-season, there was, as you say, there was. You said throughout there was moments, weren't there? There was a few nice combinations. I don't want to harp on about the pitch, but I feel like, you know, difficult conditions, and it'd be interesting to see next week when we're back the next game back at Old Trafford. I saw enough there, certainly in attacking parts of the pitch, with some of the combinations there, that it just looked more like we were comfortable in knowing where we. There's a lot of times I watch United over the past couple of years, and I feel like when they get the ball at the top end of the pitch, no one necessarily knows what the next move is. No one knows. They just it's all off the cuff. It didn't feel as off the cuff at times today.
No, it didn't.
They didn't get it right as much as I would have liked. And as you say, there were still some issues in the midfield, but definitely positives there. Definitely looking at that, thinking that when we do inevitably step it up, when the real games come, there's reasons to be positive.
Yeah, I do think that as well. From an attacking point of view, it's been more lively. more creative,
Definitely.
and where we've done well in certain situations. But I think it's been a tough battle. It just feels just like the way when we played at Goodison Park. United played in patches today, and the midfield, defensively as well, there is some niggles that need to be addressed.
It's the bringing it on themselves is the problem. It's too often shoot themselves in the foot. We didn't get punished all the time, did we? With a lot of mistakes.
I mean, both goals today quite preventable. The warning signs were there, and they were still not registering. But from a creative attacking, we were good in bits in the first half, and the second half as well. We had one or two chances. Patrice near the end as well had a chance to get the winner.
Very good second goal from Mason Mount.
Yeah, shades of Atletico Bilbao with that goal. Yeah,
he had a nice pass, didn't he, as well for Dorgu, who came on and did. It's always tricky coming on late in these friendly games with all the changes.
Good turn and finish. I think Mason Mount had a good cameo. I think he's looked lively for the most part in this pre-season. Someone in the chat says Mbeumo doesn't look quite 100%. Hope he's all right for Arsenal. Yeah, I think that's his first action since the end of the season. I don't think his pre-season has been anywhere near as long as most of the United players. So that's why he only got the first 45 minutes. But you could still see, he had a couple of rusty moments, but you could see glimpses of his quality. I think when he gets in his condition and gets up to speed, I've got no doubts that there's a player there. But what I will say is we have spoke a couple of positives in terms of the combination play at times. We will speak about some of the issues that we have seen, and it is the midfield composition, and I think we are still massively lacking in that area. And I think for the second game in a row, we've conceded a goal from Ugarte losing a ball, because for all the talk last season, and I think there's a large part of the fan base that are very, really insecure and sensitive about Ugarte criticism.
Yeah,
but we know his deficiencies on the ball, and he's not great in that area. He's just a ball winner. And I think we do need to improve on him in that area, and I think we need better midfielders in there, and I think there's no harm in saying that, because what you can't afford to have is a player that's that much of a liability on the ball. And I think if you have him, you need someone that can almost like ease that burden from him, because you know he's not capable of doing it, so you can't play to his weaknesses, because it's too often now, like, and I think what happens is he gets in his head, he loses the ball, and then he has like a 10-15 minute spell where he can't do anything right. Do you know what I mean? And I think his head gets a little bit kettled then.
I don't know if you can have someone next to him that takes the burden off him though, because I think what United are trying to do, if he's a weakness on the ball, that is just going to be targeted. We're trying to bring the ball out, and he's I don't want to pile on, but it's...
Yeah, he was a factor in the second half, because he did have a 10-15 minutes when he was all over the place.
You do need... Ideally, you want a player that can win the ball back and do everything that he does so well, but can't be so limited when he's being asked to carry the ball out.
Him. He's got to be his own player. He's got to cut these mistakes out.
Because the way teams press now, he's under pressure here on a few yards outside his own box, and I always worry when I see him with the ball under his feet and thinking, what's he going to do? Is he going to find a way out? He just kick it for touch, do something, but inevitably possession gets turned over, and it's...
I think with Ugarte is we play with a midfield too, don't we? A midfield pivot. I don't think he's suited to that at all.
No.
I think he's a midfield free player where he's almost like he plays as you've got like almost like he's an 8 where with a 6 behind him, but he's someone that can release and go press and hunt people down. I think that's where he's probably better. I think when in midfield, because he even talks about his ability defensively, I still feel like he gives way too many fouls away. I think he doesn't decelerate enough sometimes when he goes to challenge people and just clatters people too often. And sometimes he can get bypassed as well. So it's not even like he's brilliant defensively. He's decent, he battles, and he's got dog in him, and he's got good character.
Some games I've seen him where he's everywhere.
But he's a limited footballer, but who's not aided by obviously the system of what's required from your midfield too under Amorim as well. Because you do remember, I think Amorim only had him for one season, he went to PSG. And obviously the Portuguese leagues is very different. But obviously I don't want to just pile on him as well. Obviously I've spoke at length about what I think about him in terms of his limitations, and it kind of reared its ugly head again today. But I don't think he was the only one that had a bit of an off game as well. I think Dalot, I don't think I've ever seen Dalot have a good game, left wing back for one. I know people
he's definitely in the wrong position. Definitely in the wrong position. I think Dalot had a bit of a wobbler as well.
What do you think of the football though? I think there was a lot of poor touches, and I think there was long stretches that game that was really poor.
The
Do you think it was-
concentration
for both
levels.
sides?
Do you think it was the
Yeah.
pitch though? I think the pitch aided it.
I think so.
I think quality. You can't use the pitch as an excuse. Professional footballers getting paid a fortune, but I think the pitch worsened it. But at the same time, I think there was a lot of inexcusable poor. bits of play.
No control on the ball.
Yeah.
United couldn't string any sort of passes together. And when we did get going, it was just in little flashes, like with Bruno when that setting up for the goal.
But speaking of Bruno, though, I mean, he's another one that sometimes when it gets a little bit choppy, you're looking for someone to calm it down, and he does what he does on occasion, where he sometimes aids it a little bit with some loose passing of his own. At a time in the game when you really just want to calm it down, I think there's a few times where Ugarte wasn't having a brilliant few minutes, and Bruno puts him under pressure. It's things that we've seen before, just not managing these periods in games very well. We bring the pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, because Bruno dropped into midfield, and then obviously he's got a risky type of play style, and he gets caught on the ball by Ndiaye, he kicks out at him as well, and then we go and concede, and then it's 2-2.
Ridiculous.
So it's
goal.
like two avoidable goals. It was giveaway from Bruno, giveaway from Ugarte, and you get punished by Premier League sides. But I think for the most part, there's positives from the pre-season. I think we looked physically better. I think today was the first time that we looked a bit second best physically. I think that's. But I think you're not going to play against Everton. Everton are literally a side of basketballers. They look like as well. They were huge.
Yeah,
and
very
they look
physical
very
team,
physical, very strong. So I
with a
think
manager.
they equalised it a lot. And you know you're going to get that from David Moyes. But I will shout out Dorgu. I thought he was good again. I think he's had a great pre-season. And it's all. I think pre-season's not over yet. It feels like it is just because it's the US tour. We've got Fiorentina next week, and then it's game week 1 before you know it against Arsenal. But if we get more minutes in the legs of our front players, and we kind of probably get another couple of heads in, because I think we need a midfielder or we need a striker. I'm going to ask people in the comments again before we sign off, and ask you as well, because we've seen us linked to Sesko. We haven't really seen that many midfield links. Would you sign off the back of the three pre-season games? What would you prioritise, a striker or a midfielder? Would you reckon? Goalkeeper. Bayern Day is not good enough, and Tom Heaton can.
You're talking three positions.
I just don't see how Tom Heaton goes.
What do you feel? For me, it have to be the goalkeeper as well as the midfielder.
It's just all the noise you're hearing is the striker position. So it's almost like, and I know we need a goalkeeper, and I personally think a midfielder would be the most transformative signing. But it seems that they must have had a look at what's available, what they've got to work with, also what they can move out. And the striker seems to be the one that if we do make a change,
yes,
it's going to be that.
But anyway,
screaming out for it.
I'll sign it off there. It's just gone past midnight.
That's nice. Isn't it?
So that should we just give ourselves all a round of applause for the fact that we've done a couple of watch-alongs now. Really, really late night for the people.
Look better, but obviously we had a team which was more equipped to have a chance of being more competitive. We were nowhere near in the first and the second game. We didn't have enough players and didn't have players fit enough in the opening games. But just starting to get one or two back into fitness, namely sort of Tarky and Kino, which gave us some. In the first game we were sort of 5 players out of position trying to find a team. So, but tonight I thought it was better. I thought we played much better. Yeah, we've picked up, but not enough and not as far. I would hope that we'd be much further down the line than we've been. But obviously,
Welcome to Toffee TV. We are here in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Manchester United are actually training behind us.
Yeah.
So if you hear any noise in the background, it's Manchester United. They're actually training small-sided games after the 2-2 draw with Everton tonight. So what did you make of that? Everton obviously come from behind twice. Morale boosting?
Yeah, I thought we played really well. Not amazing, don't get me wrong, but when you're judging from the Bournemouth performance, albeit we done okay in the first half, West Ham, don't think both teams were great, but I thought Everton were much better tonight, having Tarkowski back. Anyone who doubts him is well, don't know what you're watching, but him being in that back four, we just look so much more solid. But I thought we played with a good energy tonight. The final third still needs work, but I thought we played with a good energy.
I think we were more organised tonight, and I think there was a little bit more like tactical.
Yeah,
we were tactically switched on a bit more, which I think naturally happens when Tarkowski plays.
You said to me before it started
Here's the compliment.
It could be 7.
I thought you were going to say the other thing I said.
You were joking. But no, I think obviously coming into it, we were a bit like, we'd seen a bit of United in both games, and he looked really good.
Yeah.
I just thought Everton were much, much better tonight.
No, some of the things we said about tactics, I think played into what we tonight. Was like, Everton are a tactical team, and when we don't have the players. And there's a lot of the Premier League's like this. We don't have the players to when in these kind of games when it's like just when it's freestyle almost. Manchester United do, and your other teams do. We don't have those kind of players. I thought tonight was just a lot more organised. Having Jordan Pickford back in goal, having Tarkowski in front of him, even Michael Keane being alongside, because Michael Keane did all right against West Ham.
He did. Played well tonight.
I thought we're just more organised, and that helped. Obviously, make sure that there was no mistakes really. We went behind to a penalty that was not a penalty. After we should have been 1-0 up after this, the free kick and then the miss by Jake O'Brien really. So we've been 1-0 down when we really shouldn't have been. After that though, I thought before they scored I thought we'd done well, and then after they scored we done well.
Absolutely. I mean, we'd had Beto had gone through and scored, but he was just offside, wasn't he? O'Brien had hit the post when he should have buried it. We'd done okay. They had a good chance with Cunha, which just rolled wide. It was quite even, and then the penalty was so short. It's never a penalty, and we spoke to James Garner after it, and he said the referee apologised, said he'd made a mistake, which it's great, isn't it? You made the mistake, but you 1-0 down. But I thought Everton stuck to it, and we scored a really, really good equaliser.
Yeah, we never our heads never went down, and we started creating little chances, and it's a great ball by Idrissa Gana Gueye. And Ndiaye finishes it very similar to the goal he scored at Manchester City last season away. Oh, it was back post, steering it in. Very similar.
That was a good goal.
And we're back at 1-1, and I thought we deserved it.
Well, it was a really good goal. I mean, we'd had a good move and just didn't I think Jake O'Brien got in round the back and just couldn't find the right ball, and it come back out, didn't it? And Idrissa puts a great ball back in. It's a brilliant finish, and then we should have scored straight after it. Jake O'Brien can't wrap his head round it, flick on.
Hit him in the face.
Hit him if he's trying to guide it and can't, and that could have gone in the top corner. It's 2-1. So I thought we did really well, in those occasions to stick to what we were doing. Because a little bit of our forward play without Ndiaye is forced, let's be honest. Beto, as good as what he can be, battled away. I don't think he had a great game, and this is after the manager had said beforehand he hadn't really been impressed with him so far. So he's got to get a little bit better. But I thought going in at half time I thought we'd done all right.
Yeah, we were fine, and then obviously coming out second half. Both teams make changes, but obviously Manchester United can bring on stronger players, and we see that with Mason Mount obviously scoring the goals. We're bringing on the likes of Tyler Nyango, who might even be an Everton player by the end of the week. And again, David Moyes mentioned in the press conference that there's players there that he wants to go on loan. He also there's players there that he'd like to do other things. Sell essentially if he had the chance. The goal is the second goal. We've got too many players standing off, allowing space, not in. This is the problem when you make the subs, and obviously in a game like this, you'd never make those kind of subs. They are to give people minutes. And he's wrapped his foot round it, and he's made it 2-1. And then you're starting to think, with the subs we just made, this might have gone.
Yeah, it was listen, from our perspective, it's a poor goal. Tyler Nyango goes asleep with a ball inside behind him, and then when we get back round it, Mason Mount drops off him and he doesn't go with him, and therefore he's whacked it past Pickford. But we could have easily not threw the towel in, it's a friendly, but we could have easily just gone, they've made sharper changes, and we haven't really got the offensive plays to put on. But the lads did stick at it and went back at United, and we get a really fortuitous equaliser. And then for me, Everton are the ones pushing to try and win the game.
Well, you mentioned fortuitous goal, which it was. I mean, we were breaking away. There should have been a red card in the breakaway. I'm not bothered what anyone says. Fernandes gets kicks in jive.
He just kicks out.
And he should have been sent. He should have been either sent off or, like he used to do in the old days, asked to leave the pitch. It wasn't great. But we'd had like a few chances where there was the one with Michael Keane. Michael Keane sort of takes it off Beto. I mean, don't get me wrong, Michael Keane puts a good strike in and the keeper saves it. But you wonder if he'd left it for Beto. And then there was the one with Beto and Charlie Alcaraz where,
it was a good move, actually.
It was a good move, and it was almost like 2 passes, maybe too many, where a shot should have been taken and it ends up being offside. So there was chances. It's just, we're just not polished at that end, are we? No. We're just desperate for more. We're desperate for pace all over the pitch. I still think we need a fullback who's got the pace to, you know, that recovery pace, someone who can get back. So it's still pace, but tonight we're a lot more organised, and we are, as I said before, we are a team that needs that organisation, and we will be in plenty of games this season because of that organisation. But if we want to take that next step, we do need that little bit of extra class, and it's just not quite there now.
No, but the 2 real positives were, I thought James Garner had a really good game in the 6. I thought he was everywhere. Asked the manager about him, and he said he didn't think he had played well in the other couple of games, but he thought he was good tonight. And I thought Adam Agnew come on and looked nice and lively and bright. I know he was playing, you know, and again the manager's pointed this out, and we know it, he's a left back, but he played him a bit higher, but he's good on the ball and offensive and bright and quick, and that gives us a little bit of attacking
pacey, and he's got a trick, and it makes people think, and it's different from what we've already got in there. And of course, it's only a little cameo, and we need to see more. But hopefully, you know, I think people might be excited about what they've seen tonight. That's not always the best thing, people getting excited about plays straight away. But the manager didn't mention in the press conference there, you can watch exclusively on Sophie TV. I don't think anyone else has got it.
No.
So you can watch that, and the manager seemed excited by the cameo, and, you know, and he said he needs to get physically stronger. I mean, when the manager's in 2 years, that's just
1 to 2.
But that just shows you, doesn't it, like how difficult it is to bring these players in. But as you mentioned, then Everton could have gone on. Jordan makes an absolutely brilliant save towards the end, a really strong arm to push it away in the closing stages. But we had our chances. It's just, we know what we need. The manager's mentioned it again. He said a couple of times, he said, I hope, when you asked him about playing at Hill Dickinson, he said, I hope to have a couple of players there for the fans. And he also mentioned it being, I think he said, a busy week or you know, next week. So he believes that things are in progress. But he also said, we've been sort of burnt before on some,
told 4 or 5 weeks
on deals. So
I don't know. I think we're probably quite far along on a couple, and he thinks it'll happen, but he doesn't want to go all in on it, obviously.
Well, I think, you know, things have got out, like the likes of Fofana and stuff like that, maybe too early. And he doesn't want that. And I actually think David Moyes, the kind of fellow who doesn't want that for the fans either. He doesn't want the fans to think, oh, we're getting someone in, and then, because he knows both ways, it disappoints fans, and also it creates a pressure, and that isn't really required at this stage. And he's played plenty of times in the last 10 days. Everton need players in. He said that. Players have said that. He's talked about how unprepared we were for this tour, which is really interesting. But the positives are, you know, Tarky played an hour, and you know, as I said, we've got better at every game. That's the most important thing. Bournemouth last Saturday, the second half, we were non-entity. West Ham, we were a little bit better, but without maybe just stupid mistakes to goalkeeper and defensive. And tonight I thought, you know, as I said, the first goal is not a penalty, and the second goal is just like what was it, a couple of minutes after the subs were made.
It was a good finish, but we could have avoided it by just picking our runs. Absolutely, that's footy, but we didn't get beaten. No. And a good way to...
Well, it's nice. Nice though, wasn't it? Because the fans have been absolutely amazing on this, and they've enjoyed it regardless. And Atlanta's been absolutely fantastic for the fans as well. So much respect for the people who organised it, and the 2 nights and the tailgate today. It was really, really good, and you know, they've got to see a couple of goals today, and they've got to enjoy the game, and they're not walking out feeling you know, disappointed. They're walking out feeling, that was good, because obviously Man United have got the trophy, they're the winners, and we've got a draw with them to, you know. And Bruno Fernandes was absolutely pissed off after the game, and I know I'm all day for that, because I'm absolutely all day for that.
Yeah, listen, the fans that have been absolutely amazing on this America tour. Everyone we've met, everyone we spoke to, you know, and have loved it. The club have done lots of stuff for them as well, more than any of the other 3 clubs, by the way. Everton have put on lots of stuff, been brilliantly attended. People from home and people from all over the United States. Fantastic. So today, to finish with a positive, it'd been great to win, of course, but to finish with a positive result is good, and we build up to what is an exciting week.
Well, just on that, just to cap it off, the tour has been really good. It's been all of the nights have been fantastic. Everyone's had a good time. The quiz today was really good. Because I won it.
You did. Fluked it with double points.
Well, you say fluked it. Just came round the bend late and took it. I mean, it didn't really matter to you. It mattered to your son.
Yeah, didn't bother me.
But it's been really good. And listen, I've had a little dig on a couple of videos about things, but in terms of what they've put on for the fans, it's been exceptional. It really has. It's been exceptional. And of course, with all the travelling involved, you've got a lot of tired people as well, doing a lot of hard work, us included. So they've done really, really well, and we've got to meet, got to talk to a lot of the people who were here with Everton, and we've seen how hard they've worked, and fair play to them. We just want more, don't we? We want more of these trips.
It's been a real positive. I think it's been a real step forward, this one, I think. And now can we build on it for everyone?
And that's what we've got to build on. And as I said, my only gripes with this is, with the only moments I've felt like a little bit disappointed is, it's been amazing for the fans we've already got. I think for maybe attracting new fans, we could work a little bit harder. But maybe, and this is just me, maybe the point of this exercise was to look after what we've already got, and when we come back we work again, to build on top of that. Because one thing I would say is, everywhere we've gone, and we were in a bar last night, is to see people coming in who are not Evertonians and seeing the energy from the Evertonians here.
John Lally was talking about you.
But to see the energy and the energy of the people who set it up, like Tony and Bridget, and at Roger's event in New York. People have fed off that energy who aren't Evertonians, and I think that's what we're talking about, isn't it? Is if we can get people to almost come to these events by accident and say to them, is a cap, is a hat, whatever, and we can go, you might just be an Evertonian for a day, but if that person starts looking out for our results and goes, I like this, there's people, we spoke to people who are not interested in football, but they knew the football was here because it was a big deal, and they're like, who should I root for? And you're like, me and John were in a cab before me, I'm like, you should be an Evertonian. He's like, I am an Evertonian. He was like, I'm an Evertonian now. Now who knows, that fella might go home, see the result and go, they didn't do badly here. And when the Premier League's on, they might go, I'll watch a bit of that, and I'm supporting Everton.
Who knows? It's about spreading it, growing it, and seeing if we can build on it. So good end to
my
what
voice has gone after last night.
It's been a long but brilliant tour, and going to be another exciting week ahead with the first game at the Hill Dickinson.
I'm most excited for sleep in my bed.
Fair play.
That's what I'm most excited. Aren't you excited for sleep in your own bed? I'm really excited for that. No, it's been great, and obviously we are one of only two organisations who have done the whole trip. We've only one of 2 organisations, and it's been positive, been good from that point of view as well. So there you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, how you've seen it, if you've been here. Also, every single person that has come up to us and spoke to us and took pictures with us and just said nice things about the channel and
about Everton,
about us, and about James and about John, and I've just been saying, anything nice, you're part of the reason, every day they watch us and all that kind of thing. That's been amazing. It's been amazing. It just puts the energy back into us, because obviously meeting people in the real world rather than just like through comments and stuff, it's a whole different experience, and listening to people how they become Evertonians and how we are part of that, and how they've got to go to the game, whether it be in Atlanta, whether it be in New Jersey, or whether it be in Chicago. It's been fantastic for them. So thank you all for watching all of the videos. There'll be another vlog. There'll be the final vlog out later on tonight. That'll be the last one. I hope you've watched them all. And from the Premier League Summer Series. I'm not dropping the mic because these are expensive. They're expensive. I'm not dropping the mic. So thank you very much. Catch you all later.
Concerned, yes, with that performance. Positives, negatives. It was a wash with both. Lots of stuff to get through in that game there, but I mean, I think it was a disappointing end to what has been a good tour for Manchester United. They obviously clinch the summer series, but I think there is some worrying signs within that performance that will remind a lot of Manchester United fans about what happened last season. A lot of individual errors, a lot of individual mistakes on the ball. Decision making was off for Manchester United. We got off to a sharpish start. The game was frenetic. It was fearsome. It was highly competitive. I'll give it that for a friendly. That's what that was there. But for United to lose the lead twice in that game, with the mistakes that were happening and the way we played, I think that's the concerning part of it. Manchester United lifting the trophy, that's fine, that's great. But again, like, it just seems like all the work that was done over the last few weeks on tour, the good performances against West Ham, the great performance against Bournemouth, the intensity in which United played in them games was there in part, but I think it was overcooked in that game against Everton. I think we tried too hard in a way. We were trying to impress too much. We didn't know when to take the foot off the gas. We didn't know when to take the sting out of the game. We didn't know how to calm the game down. It was just constantly non-stop throughout. Mistakes, errors, through trying to force the play. United showed some fantastic moments in that game, particularly in the first half. The interchange between Bruno, Cunha and Mbeumo and Ahmad was everything that every Manchester United fan wants to see. Exciting times ahead, yes, but concerning times ahead as well alongside it. Defensively, I thought we looked shaky tonight. A clear sign that Manchester United need a goalkeeper. I think that was clear. There was indecisiveness with Bayindir again. I'm not blaming him for any of the goals. I thought he made a mistake which could have cost United a goal, where he just pushed the free kick away from Ghana, which should have led to a goal for Everton. And in the end, Manchester United could probably count themselves lucky that they didn't lose that game. There was a lot wrong with Man United's performance, and Ruben Amorim, I've not listened to what he said after the game yet, but just them words that came out of Ruben's mouth at half-time when speaking to the cameras, when he said that Manchester United were too slow out. Minor little details in Manchester United's game that is causing them problems. And in the Premier League, we know that is going to be punished. On the opening day against Arsenal, that will be punished. Them stupid little errors. Players to look out for in that game in a wrong way. I think Dalot was poor. He shows why Manchester United cannot play him at right wing back next season. Very limited going forward. Very negative going forward. All right, defender, but all right isn't going to cut it for Manchester United this season. This is a man that's part of Manchester United's leadership group, or so-called leadership group that Ruben has created at the club. One of the senior players now at United that just honestly just doesn't do it for me. I just don't think he's got enough to his game to bring what Ruben wants from it. Ahmad on the right wing-back position, I think he's nailed down for this season coming. There has been some good points from this tour, which will be that certain players have clearly shone above others and need to be playing in this team. Ahmad over Dalot is a clear one for me as well. He needs to figure out which centre-back three he wants, which he will do, and that will come when obviously he settles in to the season. He's obviously in pre-season going to try everybody out, and that's what we do need to remember here as well. Lots of changes, lots of mixing around. Team was different again from the previous two games, and we do have to bear that in mind when we're trying to dissect a performance from Manchester United. It's not like this is the same old that we've been seeing week in, week out in the league, because there is a lot of changes, new faces, integration with new players that play a part in poor performances as well. But the individual mistakes that were there tonight were the worrying sign for me, which a lot of fans are just going to come back and say, well, this is what we were doing last season. And we was. Manuel Ugarte strolling out of the box like he's got all the time in the world and then getting tackled. It was no one communicating to him at all there when he was trying to run out with the ball. There was a simple pass on to Cunha outside of the box for Ugarte to play, but no, he got a little bit ahead of himself, thinking that he could take it more, and he got found out. that intensity is going to start creeping back in. I think we've avoided it with other teams not being as fit as us in this pre-season tour. But Everton, now a few games in themselves, are looking a lot sharper as well. And this is by no means a strong Everton side that have really gone at Manchester United tonight. Agate got caught cold. That's another concern for me. The midfield tonight, overrun, and Everton won the battle in midfield. I thought Mainu and Agate way off where we need them to be. And a lot of United fans will be concerned looking at that and thinking, few weeks left in the transfer window, United need to go and invest in a midfielder. That, I think, is going to be a lot of the conversation around Manchester United's and United fans going into these last few weeks of the window. Again, going forward, the striker, like Cunha, was all right, but I prefer him playing in his natural role alongside Mbeumo. Good debut for Mbeumo, showed some good moments. United transitioned the ball very, very quickly. It was good in bits, but not consistent enough today. The good, the bad and the ugly of Bruno Fernandes was another poor point for me in this game there. The petulance and the friendly to be kicking out and fighting on the halfway line while his defenders are all scrambling around and conceding a goal, an own goal, which came off 2 Man United defenders before it hit the back of the bleeding net. Bruno involved in both the goals, and again, that's the good side of Bruno, but he needs to find a position for Bruno and not play him all over the place for me. That's just my opinion on that, and obviously get into the comment section and let me know on that one. We need a striker, like I said, with Cunha playing there today. What's going to happen with Benjamin Sesko? Clearly, I think Mason Mount will play a role in this season as well. Great off the bench again today. I thought he was United's best player in the second half. Showed promise again, and fully fit Mason Mount will be a weapon for Manchester United. He really will. But overall, Manchester United, again, we've not lost a game. We're unbeaten in pre-season after 4 games. 2 draws, 2 defeats, and again, I don't want to sound overly negative because it is pre-season and the chopping and changing and nothing settled in. But players should not be making stupid individual mistakes. They should be picking the better passes, understanding where the game is and understanding to take the sting out of the game. We're just worried that this is going to creep into our game again going into the season because we've seen it before. So it's not being negative. It's not being a big downer on what has been a good tour for Manchester United. There are more positives than negatives overall within the US tour for me. But that performance will remind a lot of Manchester United fans of what this team's limitations are and where the mental state is in this team. Ruben Amorim will be absolutely livid with that performance. Some big players had poor games there today. And I think that's the biggest concern of all. We can use it. We've got one more pre-season game. We've got a bit of time to fix things. Obviously, we're back into Manchester tomorrow now. And obviously, we can start working on things on the training ground properly again and start knuckling down because the season is less than 2 weeks away now. That start against Arsenal is coming fast. And United need to be a lot better prepared than where we are now. I think against Fiorentina next Saturday, we're going to see the Manchester United starting lineup and where United are going with this team under Ruben Amorim and what we're going to see at the start of the season. We need a striker, we need a midfielder, and we need a goalkeeper. I think that's one thing that's been made very, very clear about what's happened through this tour, and in particular, this last game here has been a bit of a dampener on what has been a good week for Manchester United, a good couple of weeks anyway. But that's it. Another pre-season tour done for United, and now it's back to the main business. One more friendly to go, and welcoming back De Gea. But tonight, more concerns than positives overall is how I see it. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Give me your thoughts. Again, give the video a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button that's up on your screen as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you all first thing in the morning with all the Manchester United transfer updates as always.
There we go then, the end of match day number 3 of the US Tour. Manchester United do finish it after the draw with Everton as the Premier League Summer Series champions of the world. Obviously you'll never sing that. Does it matter? Not really. But I do think it's a positive that United have played 3 lots of Premier League opposition because that's what we needed to be better at, and that's what we are going to be judged on ultimately. You can win trophies, you can win the FA Cup, you can win the League Cup. Obviously we won't win anything in Europe this year, but that would still result in Amorim losing his job. You have to be better in the league, so we've got to be better in the league. Now, I don't think it was quite as impressive as the previous 2 games, and for a few reasons. Firstly, the match started first 20 minutes or so quite positively, actually. There was really, really good signs. I think I'm going down a blind alley here. Hopefully I can get myself out. As I'm just leaving the stadium, it's all fences here, just blocking the path. I need to get that way. I don't know if I can. There was really, really positive signs in the first 20-25 minutes or so. Really enjoyed some of the one-touch football which we played. Really thought we looked dangerous. I liked how fluid that forward line was. Cunha popping up in the middle and on the right, and Mbeumo popping up on the left and in the middle. Bruno sort of playing off him a little bit. It wasn't the sort of the 2 with Bruno in the 10, which I thought maybe it would have been, and the sort of formation that we have discussed as a possible thing that United might revert to at some point this season. Those 2 as a bit of a double prong attack with Bruno being in a bit of a free role and then a midfield 2 in behind him. It wasn't that, which is a little bit disappointing because I was really hoping it would be that. But there was a lot of fluidity and it was impressive, and we looked capable, we looked dangerous. It looked like we were able to stick it on Everton. We was creating chances at will. Okay, the opener came from the penalty spot, but I thought we looked really good, and I feel like once Mbeumo gets up to match sharpness, because he's clearly not, that's probably going to be really, really fruitful for us in the final third. There was a few runs off the ball and ahead of the ball that were being made. There was one in particular where the ball came from the left-hand side into the centre of the pitch. Can't remember who was on the ball in the centre. And Mbeumo makes this run from the right wing across the front of the Everton defence, and it opened up a channel. I think it might have been Bruno, it might have been Cunha, I actually can't remember. And he plays the ball out to Ahmad, who's now on the right wing on his own, because Mbeumo has taken the defence away from him. And I said to Joe at the time, I like that. I like that. That is really intelligent movement, and that's the sort of movement that United have just not had in recent years. But it wasn't all rosy, and that ultimately didn't really result in as dangerous as it looked. We weren't getting the goals from that. We weren't putting the ball in the back of the net from that. We didn't look good on transition. Everton, when they were winning the ball, were getting up against our back 3 very, very easily. I've seen Ugarte get a little bit of shit for it. I also think Mainoo's got a little bit of a part to play in that as well. Them 2 as a pair weren't really locking down that midfielder. The Everton attack was getting into our back line very, very easily. That's not good. You shouldn't be getting up against our defence that straightforward and that easily. But I also don't think it's just down to those 2 players. I think the wing-backs have to play a little bit of a part in this. The amount of space that we were asking that midfield to cover, if they missed one of their tackles, Everton were just in against the back 3. And then the back 3, they were being quite forceful and quite aggressive with their defending, which means if they missed, Everton was then going like 2v2 against our back line. Not a good position for us to be in. Maybe that's something that the manager spotted. Maybe that was one of the reasons why he's seen his arse a little bit, because he did look like a grumpy old bear towards the end of the game or after the game. But that's something that absolutely needs fixing, and that's something that absolutely has to be addressed before you go and play Arsenal in a couple of weeks. Because you put that sort of performance in against Arsenal, with the numbers and the quality that they attack in, you're going to get your arse handed to you. I also don't think we look very good at set plays. And I also didn't think we played out very well. So there's plenty to work on. And yeah, we've come away, we've won this tournament, we've performed okay. We haven't made a ton of changes. We definitely treated this a little bit more like sort of regular season Premier League matches than we normally do for a pre-season game. Like there wasn't 15 fucking subs at half time and that. But we've come away, no injuries for once in pre-season. We've managed to get some minutes, albeit just a half of football into Mbeumo. Cunha looks good. We've still got the likes of Xerxes not seen, Mazraoui not seen, Martinez not seen, Onana not seen. So there's still some players to come back into the 11 that need minutes, that are going to feature in Premier League matches probably early in the season, that we haven't had a chance to get some match fitness in, that are going to require to get match fitness in. But we've had a busy tour. we've had, even though we've had, cross this road, make sure I can get away. Even though we've had, can you see the stadium? There you go. Nice stadium. Very nice stadium inside, actually. Even though we've had only 3 games, there's still quite a lot of travel. There hasn't been the commercial commitments that there normally is when the club are on tour. It's been a pretty casual and quite relaxed tour compared to some of the commercial commitments that there's been on other tours that I've been part of. When we get back to Manchester, they've got a game against Fiorentina and then like a full week before the first Arsenal game. There will still be pre-season style fitness and probably tactical understanding that the players are going to be working on, and that's a positive thing, and I think that will continue throughout August. I wouldn't expect the intensity to drop off in the slightest. After the game, they was doing another training session and the players took fucking ages, nearly a full hour to come back through. After the game finished, they went back out onto the pitch and they got put through it again, and that's happened after every game. I don't know if they trained this morning, I have no idea, but I know that they've been getting smashed and I know that they've been doing a lot of weights. They all look, to a man, in a lot better condition than they have in previous years. You know, the fitness work that they've been doing, well, they've been doing it. Now, you can be the fittest players in the world, but if you don't defend at corners and you're getting beat 1v1 and you can't play out from the back and you don't put the ball in the back of the net, it don't fucking matter. Mo Farah's pretty fit, but he couldn't fucking run a central midfield, could he? So there does have to be a balance. But United in recent years have not been fit enough to play Premier League football. And we've not been fit enough to play the level of intensity that Ruben Amorim wants us to play. So the fact that everyone does look like they're in condition coming into the season right now, I think is a massive step forward to where we've been in recent years. But there's a long way to go. I think we're going to sign a striker, and all the talk seems to be pointing towards Benjamin Sesko, but it's not enough. And it might be greedy to demand that we sign a midfielder, but we might need it. We might need to fix the midfield, depending on how ambitious the club want to be going into this window. But yeah, there we go. That's pre-season done. I'm going to drop a 5 things we learned on the tour, possibly tomorrow. But cheers for all the comments and the subscribes and all the rest of that sort of stuff. And to everyone that I've seen and hung out with and all the rest of that out on the tour. Nice one. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.
Well then, after weeks and weeks of Eddie Howe being asked about Alexander Isak, what's happening here, what's happening there, is he in Spain, do you know he's in Spain, and on the whole, being fairly reserved, fairly diplomatic about it, has sent a very strong message to Alexander Isak today in his press conference. As well, it's thought or hoped that the Sesko situation will be resolved in the next 24 hours, and Newcastle are already linked with another striker should Sesko not go the way we are hoping. Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video on this Sunday evening. I've had a busy day, charity match down at Newcastle Bentfield. I understood we raised a whole lot of money, so thank you to everyone who went down, thank you to everyone who donated, and we won. I did alright, pulled my hamstring with about 15 minutes to go, which was not ideal, so it is a quiet sit down, Sunday evening, cup of tea, and I have to say, big up Eddie Howe on the words that he spoke this afternoon. He totally gets it, doesn't he? Eddie Howe, he totally gets it. He is an absolute gem. He's turned football players around. He's had us playing above ourselves. But he gets it off the field as well. He understands the fans. He understands the football club. And look, that's probably the same for all football clubs. But you just don't always feel the same. Look, someone like Paul Mitchell just clearly didn't get it. Amanda Staveley got it. Eddie Howe gets it, and after being asked about Alexander Isak so much, every interview he's done, we played a football match today, by the way, barely, none of the questions were about that. It's about Alexander Isak. For all intents and purposes, by the way, great goal from Barnes, a good effort on the field out there against Spurs today, and we'll take that home with us this weekend, and are expected to be back in training Tuesday, Wednesday. And the big question mark is, will Alexander Isak be there? And Eddie Howe was asked that in his press conference this afternoon. As I've mentioned already, he has been somewhat diplomatic. Oh, I'm not in charge of that situation. I'm over here coaching the players. Do you know that he's in Spain? Or I get my updates from social media. Like, he's been given little knives, little pokes, but he hasn't really gone full blast. And even in what he said this afternoon, I think he's tried to be careful of how he says it, but it's clear, and I will read it out. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group of players as normal. You have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. And yeah, I mean, I was in the pub last night talking to you guys, basically, anyone who wants to talk about football. That's what we're all talking about. Newcastle United, Alexander Isak, will he turn up for training? And, you know, for me, really unsure of how it will play out. I think Keith Downey, Sky Sports, is probably already setting up his tent now outside the training ground, waiting to see whether Isak turns up. But clearly, what Eddie Howe is saying there is, and he said that he expects Isak to be there. And he is essentially saying that however, he cannot expect to walk in, start giving high fives to Bruno, and just start joining in on the training session. Clearly, there's going to have to be some form of sit-down conversation. We aren't happy with how you behaved, and how do we make this work? And if I'm perfectly honest, up until now, I have just gone along with the situation. You know, he's tried to push this move. Liverpool have never come back in for him. We're going to come back on to that in a second. What does Isak do now? I think he's been horribly advised. I think he's done all the wrong things. Will he turn up? Like, that is the thing. Will he? He's been gone AWOL to Spain. He has to. He should do. He's paid to play for this football club. At the very least, he turns up to training. Whether he plays, whether he's saying he's still injured, who knows? But honestly, for me, I don't think he's going to turn up. And if I'm honest, from the words of Eddie Howe, although Eddie Howe says that he expects him to be there, what Eddie Howe didn't say was or that he thinks he'll be. Like, he expects him to be there in terms of because he's obligated to, because he's contracted by the club, because he's paid by the club. There is no reason why he should not be reporting for duty. It is reported that Isak's back in Newcastle, so he has made his way back over from Spain. Like, that is one of the most awkward situations ever for Isak walking back into that training ground. And if you were Eddie Howe, and after what he said just there, are you going to allow Isak to walk back in and train with your team? Or are you going to tell him, you know what it is, actually, get yourself within the 21s, lad? Is this a situation now where Newcastle actually play it the other way? The conversations are that